So, Padawan, I see you're working on your lightsaber.
Yes, Jedi Master.
Why don't you show me what you have? It's important to remember, Padawan. Bigger is better. Welcome back, all 10 viewers.
Yes.
To Nerd Hype.
A little more than 10. A little more than 10.
No, I want to thank all of you, all 139, I think we're up to views of our very first episode of Nerd Hype. And
I think it was in the 150s though.
Maybe. We kind of got close to that. Yeah. And the one hater, we do appreciate you too.
Yes. Thumbs down. Love it. You still watched.
So on today's episode of Nerd Hype episode 2, and it is fitting because today is May the 4th. And may the 4th be with you.
May the 4th be with you as well.
Star Wars celebration.
Yes, definitely. So, this is a pretty special episode. The last episode we talked about different things, movies, some things that were going on in cinema and television and a con. But this one is solely, as you can see by our little mini set here, is solely about Star Wars and the universe and everything that's going on in it. So, let's start it off real quick. First topic. Got to talk about it because it happened. I was watching live. I had the pleasure of being able to watch live D23.
Yeah, D23. A lot of exciting news, and they had to make it big, right? Because this is the 40th anniversary of Star Wars, right?
You got to make it big.
It had to be big, and they did not disappoint.
They didn't disappoint at all. The beautiful thing I love about what Disney's doing with this is that I almost feel like it's a little bit more flair given to the celebration now. Given to, it's almost like it's a little bit more pompous and regal, but at the same time, we also have new content. Whereas before, it was celebrating what we had, which is 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, a couple of video games, and all the different books and comic books that came out over the years. Dark Horse, Valiant, Marvel. You know, they all had their share of it. Now, of course, it's all Marvel because of Disney. But I think there was a lot of good stuff to come out of this.
Yeah. And let's get into the first thing. The first major news. Well, first major insight into what's going on with Disney, right? And Star Wars Land. Like, finally getting some real solid information. Boom. Some concepts of what they're going with. I mean, and for a Star Wars nerd, like, that's gold. I cannot wait. I think opens in 2019.
2019, I believe.
2019.
It's projected. And I remember, you know, this isn't like the 1930s where they could build a building in like 3 weeks. Now there's problems and people got to get paid off. And I mean, not saying that Disney's paying anybody off. Allegedly, they may be. But people got, you got to grease the right wheels in order to get stuff done. We've all seen buildings that go up now. It takes like 4 years, 10 years. It took a building in New York City to go up 12 years practically to go up all the way.
It is such a large undertaking. Like they're adding a whole nother portion to the park because they have to capitalize on the amount of money they spent in acquiring Star Wars. So when I did see it, like I wish I would have saw a little more of like where they actually are. And I know they're trying to keep it secret because it is nothing of this universe that we know of right now. It's from what we were shared, it's going to be about a planet on the Outer Rim, sort of a smuggler's trading area that has never been seen in film before, never been talked about, so it's brand new to the Star Wars lore. I personally love that. I would have loved to also have seen, like, a Naboo or something like that, or an Endor, like, and recreate
what I like about it, though, is that you're creating something that you could add later. Just like people don't get the gist of, we can tie all this together. For instance, the Rebels cartoon, and having the ship from Rebels in Rogue One. Wow. Yeah. Like that in itself is like that. They have that vision now where before, not to put anything bad on George Lucas, but Lucas didn't. He didn't have that vision before. Yeah. He was creating a universe he created from his own mind, props, but it became a little bit more of a harder work for him to tie everything in, as we saw in episodes 1, 2, and
3. We've had this discussion off screen, obviously, and I think the purchase of Disney purchasing Star Wars was possibly the best thing for the fan, because I felt the same way. George Lucas really didn't, I believe, understand where he was right now, what he had,
or how big it could be.
Yeah, how big it could be, and
especially with nowadays with social media and people like us doing our own YouTube show and talking about stuff. It changes to a whole nother level.
Yeah,
to a whole nother level.
The idea that people like myself, like I'm gonna have a child, Will has a child, that now we can bring them, and that's gonna be their introduction into the Star Wars world.
Yeah.
And
like, what better way to show a kid the movie and then take them to what's literally gonna be a set. Like, it's gonna be a set of the movie. I'm pretty sure they'll probably use it later on in one of the 19 countless more films they'll make.
So one of the coolest things that came from that in Star Wars Land was they showed you that there's going to be a Millennium Falcon ride.
Yes.
Where it simulates that you're going to actually be in it.
Yes.
That's and I geeked out.
Yeah, oh yeah.
This is going to be amazing. And I mean, I know different parks, but they pretty much run with the same thing. If anyone's been to like Universal or anything like that, they do these things now incredibly with like, it's like a roller coaster mixed with CGI.
Yes.
And you get like these incredible
3D,
effects with 3D.
The 3D hologram stuff. Disney has all that.
this isn't a small world anymore. This isn't what you're gonna get. This is gonna be.
This is
all
Disney.
Out. They're gonna,
But Star Wars Land for me, I'm gonna tell you when we first talked about this, when was that? About 2 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We first kind of started talking about it,
mm-hmm.
and we heard about it online. The first thing that made my heart sink a little bit was Euro Disney. Let me explain. When I first joined the military, I went to Euro Disney, and it was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
It was the worst thing ever made in the world. It was like a crack-headed out version of Disney. And I told myself, I said, this can't be. Disney can't do this. And it brought me back to that. Like, they can't make this like Euro Disney. They can't.
First of all, from a financial standpoint, they can't afford to. I mean, they're making their money. They're gonna make their money hand over fist just from the movies. But I think their real bread and butter was we're gonna bring more people to the park because, I've read some things in like attendance to the parks are down because of the prices or whatever.
Yeah.
And you really couldn't justify to people like you're gonna spend $120 on a ticket for a single day for one person, and you have to bring a family of 4 to a park. It's kind of not feasible.
Especially now.
I'm telling you right now, Disney, I will pay you $300 a day to go to Star Wars.
All right, let's not go crazy.
I will. Personally.
I'll take the regular price, please.
He actually gets a veteran's discount.
I wish, yeah. They do have that. But that being said, though, I feel like the concepts for it and what they're doing and how they're building the areas and building the location per se, the set, this part of the park for Star Wars is going to be amazing. I don't know how they're going to do it, though, in Disneyland. I feel like they don't have as much land as they do in Disney World because Florida has Disney bought a huge piece of property in Florida, and the land there is amazing. I've only been to Disneyland once, and that was when I was very young, when I was in my 20s. I feel like you walked out of Disney, you was in downtown LA. That's how I feel. Like, I feel like it was that small. So I don't know how they're going to do it.
I mean, well, once again, different park, but I've seen them do it. The only thing I could compare to something even, remotely measurable was what Universal did with its Harry Potter land, right? And I went there last year with my wife, and it was, you know what? Like I was like, where the hell is this thing? I thought it was really they did a great job. I mean, part of the lore with Harry Potter is like it's a hidden part. It was like you go in an alley, and all of a sudden you're in Diagon Alley, and they did this amazing job with the space that they had. That they made it seem like there are ways they can trick the eye to make it seem bigger than it is. And I mean, like
illusions,
they have like what looks like a full scale replica of Hogwarts there, and I know in reality it's only maybe like 30 feet tall because you can't see it from the road. But there are ways to work around it, and I think, like I said before, they're moving in this direction where you can do a lot of with CGI and the 3D effects that you don't need the giant coaster or anything like that. You can make people feel like they're in a large space in a ride that they're maybe not even moving.
Yeah, Disney's done it before with Magic Kingdom. When you walk in, you see the castle. It looks huge when you walk in. Mm-hmm. And then when you get on it, it's probably like 2 stories tall. So it's amazing how they do that with like hills and effects and just the light on your eyes automatically changes it.
So, but enough about Disney.
Oh, definitely.
And their practical effects.
So, definitely.
Another thing that came out, I'm more excited than Will is because he doesn't really dabble in the games as much as he used to.
I don't. But I am excited about this because when I saw where they're going with this, I'm interested.
What is this? What is this? What are we talking about?
This that we're talking about is Battlefront 2.
Battlefront 2.
Amazing. And I'm a one-person player. Like I'm a one gamer player. Like I like to play a storyline by myself, embedded. Nathan Drake, amazing, Uncharted. That's how I feel. And then to know that they're going deeper with in this one, and they're gonna actually have a story, hands down.
Well, that's the amazing thing is like, so I played the crap out of Battlefront, the first one. Well, the first one on the next gen console. I wasn't a huge fan of it just because there was no story. It was kind of a meaningless play experience because there was no replay value. You weren't playing towards something. Everything was multiplayer. But and which I really don't have a problem with. I play other games like Titanfall, and I'm cool with that. Right. My thing is like, you don't have that Call of Duty experience where I was playing something to work towards something. I was like, hey, if I get 30 more kills with this gun, I'm gonna get that scope. I'm gonna get this or whatever, and I can mod it and make it my own play experience. That was one thing I really wanted to do with this one. They've already confirmed that is what they're doing with separate classes, and that's going to be cool, completely customizable. That's all great. The thing that got me really into buying into this is like, they're like, we're going to give you a solo campaign because you demanded it. And not only are we giving you a solo campaign, listen, you've done it before in other games. You played through the whole trilogy and these newer movies. You played through that. No, we're going to give you a new story that bridges the gap between episode 6 and episode 7.
Yeah.
And it's about a stormtrooper, a part of a secret division of stormtroopers that witnesses the destruction of the Death Star, and they're going to lead their revenge against
the Rebel Alliance.
The Rebel Alliance. The new Galactic Empire.
Yeah, right. The new Galactic Empire at that point.
The Galactic Republic. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, Republic.
Right,
the Empire's gone.
Remember, the Republic. Don't call it an Empire.
I'm wearing the Rebel Alliance in my head. I said the Empire.
So for me personally, Disney's known for stories. And that's what made this amazing to me, is that finally they're taking the storytelling and putting it somewhere where I want it to be. Mm-hmm. You know, I love the stories. I love the stories from their animated to Star Wars, to the Star Wars one-shots. But for me, to have a video game that's going to have a story, you know, like you mentioned Call of Duty. Call of Duty was starting to get a little bit overplayed with their stories. It was always like somebody that was evil and ended up being, they were your friend at the beginning, evil at the end, whatever. But I'm really anticipating this. I'm hoping this is going to be a great storyline for the one-player campaign.
So I have the same feeling about this that I have about Disney acquiring it, and this was my entire hope that they would expand on the universe, and they already have. You already have. I mean, with we have the continuation of the story 7, 8, 9. That's going to happen, right?
And Rogue
One. We got Rogue One. That's what I'm really talking about. Is the Rogue One? It was because me personally, I feel Star Wars is just about the Skywalker family. That's what it's really about. Right. So if you look at Star Wars, the episodes, it's about the Star Wars family. The Skywalker family. But now, even with Rogue One, they moved into, these other characters, these other times that there's no background to it. And they're developing an entire story and characters you have no ties to before in the past.
So are you saying, kind of, simply put in a little underlying tone there, that Rey is part of the Skywalker family?
Well, I mean, just the fact that, me personally, that's what I believe. Like, I'm pretty sure they're going to try and get us with a hook. That's the idea. Everything is leading you to believe she is a Skywalker. But regardless, it's still the end of Luke's journey. And it was the end of Leia's journey.
Right.
So, I mean, like, there's that Skywalker family, and with Ben, with
Kylo.
Well, it's
he
Ben.
prefers to be called Kylo.
His mama named Ben. I'm gonna call Ben.
His mama named Clay. I'm gonna call him Clay.
Mm-hmm. That was a Coming to America reference. But listen. So even with him, like his journey, like even I know they're making it more about Rey.
Yeah.
Like it's still the end of their
and Finn.
journey.
Let's not forget Finn, though.
From the title of the movie, it looks like the end of...
we haven't talked about this. You and me personally haven't talked about it. I've talked about it with a friend of mine. Remember, Jedi is plural, bro.
Yeah.
Okay, so when he says the last Jedi, this could probably be the last Jedi that's trained by Luke, which is what I feel. This, like, in other words, Rey will train the next sect.
Okay. So why don't we just start talking about it, because I can't contain myself.
Okay. So episode 8. We all saw the trailer. Everybody went online. Everybody jumped on. We were watching live on YouTube. I was watching with you. because I was excited for this, and I didn't even know they were going to show the teaser trailer, I guess you could call it, because it wasn't a full-fledged trailer. Mm-hmm. I was amazed.
Listen, if they do not release another trailer, I'm perfectly fine with it, because I feel like now with these movies, they come out and it's like you see so much of the goddamn movie.
Trailer number 7.
That was the problem with Batman vs Superman. You saw the movie in the trailer. It's like I want to go in there and have no idea what's going to happen, because that's how I walked into episode 7. Yes. I had no idea what was going to happen. I was just excited to be there.
Of course.
You don't need to sell me. It's Star Wars. Like,
they sold me.
They did such a great job of like.
They sold me when they had Luke right there. Luke's like, that was a mean sounding Luke. Like, that was Luke like being evil, almost like in the sense of he almost channeled a little dark in right there.
I felt like it was more Luke as defeated.
I don't know. I feel like Luke was channeling a little bit of that. Remember, the Emperor knew that they had a shot with Luke. Mm-hmm. They knew they had it, and we all saw that in Return of the Jedi. He was almost leaning that way at the end, want to be with his dad. Everybody wants their dad with them in their life. We all know this. You know, respect to Anakin, not to Darth. But that being said, though, you saw a little bit of the. You saw a little bit. It's almost like you're almost seeing like a pre-shadowing, foreshadowing, post-shadowing of Kylo. You almost see that sense of like, I can be a little bit evil if I want to be. Like I could stop this now.
I kind of get that, but my personal hope is that this is like what's happened to him with Kylo, which I'm sure they're going to expand on in this movie, and what actually happened in his training that.
But we had the one flashback.
You had a flashback, but I mean, like, I don't know. He seemed pretty grown by that point. Like, what did he?
Right? Yeah. No, we never see like
what turned him to the dark side.
We never see the 9-year-old Kylo running around with Luke on his back. I don't know.
And what drove Luke away? And the whole point was they said that he went to go look for the first Jedi temple. That's what he went to look for.
Right.
So what did he find there? And what I'm hoping for, what he finds there.
Do you want me to spoil it for everybody?
No, don't do that.
It was in the trailer though. I'm not spoiling.
I mean, they show that he finds like she's dealing with like older documents.
Let's talk about this. And you just said it correctly. Documents. When you talk about the Star Wars universe, everything that we've seen so far. When have you ever seen a piece of paper? Name me one time that you've seen an important piece of paper in there. So you have the plans for the Death Star digital. You had Leia's message to Obi-Wan. Mm-hmm. You know, you're my only hope. Digital. Everything was digital.
So this is very ancient. It's ancient. Is what you're just getting at.
So is it now? Are we going to go back to a time where everything is written? Is this why Kylo is mad? Maybe Kylo knows these books exist and he wants to get these books because these books will make him take the First Order to the next level?
What I think it is, and I think that's where they're going with Rey, and I think that's where Luke has gone, is that if anybody knows anything about Star Wars, hopefully because you're watching this, about the Grey Jedi.
Oh, okay. You're going to bring the Grey Jedi into it.
So that understand the Force is a power that can be used, but there is no evil, there is no light. It is how you use it and why you use it.
Right.
So I think that's where Luke's gone. Like, he's like...
Did he become a Grey Jedi?
Like, well, first of all, the Jedi existed before the Sith.
Of course.
Right? Yeah. So they were the ones that
They
perverted the Force.
They were Jedis who said... Yeah. They were like the Jedis from Best Buy that went and opened their Circus City and said, fuck Best Buy, we're going to open up our Circus City, and this is... Now we're going to be evil and we're going to sell stuff at 50% cost.
So I guess Circuit City is evil. But what I mean by that is that this is ancient. So maybe the teachings were like there was no evil side to the Force. It was just the Force, and it was the perversion or maybe like the closed-mindedness of the Jedi, because they've already foreshadowed that in other movies that the Jedi can be very in their ways,
right?
That won't be swayed,
right?
That maybe those teachings were, and the things that he read, that there was more to the Force. There was no dark side. There was no light.
I agree. That it could definitely be.
They hinted that with Rey because he said, "What do you feel?" It's just the light and the dark, and there's so much more.
Right.
Like she's seeing so much more of the Force than.
But is there also a sense of that maybe now we're going into an uncharted territory where the first Jedi actually have a manual for this shit? Like, Luke didn't know how to harness his power. Rey was scared of it. Didn't want anything to do with it. She touched the saber and was like, I'm done with it. Maybe at this point, is this where they go and they say, you can figure out how to do it if you follow these amazing steps? Follow these 9 steps.
Maybe.
Set it and forget it.
But what I wanted to ask you is, I haven't so far, like, what do you think that means, like, the title, The Last Jedi? Like, is it the end, or is it the end of the Jedi as you know it?
That's a good question. That is definitely a good question.
Because personally, I think it's the latter. It's the end of the Jedi as you know it. That the perversion will be gone, and it's just the understanding of the Force getting back to the original teachings.
That's kind of deep. That is kind of deep.
I don't know.
For me personally, I wouldn't even want to venture
I guess
an answer, a guess, anything without kind of sitting down and kind of thinking about it, because I'd have to go through all of the source material and think about it.
I guess we'll see. December, like...
What is it, December 18th? Something like that?
In December, sometime
yeah,
December.
In December.
I can't wait.
We don't have the official date, but you'll be there, I'll be there, he'll be there with me, our wives will be there. They don't want to go my age sometimes, but they'll go.
It's going to be lit. Up next, what has Star Wars meant to us?
Tears. So Star Wars and what it's meant to me. Being a kid from the Bronx, poor, growing up in the projects, shout out to Throgs Neck Projects, East Tremont Ave, Dewey Ave, Schley, Balcom, I see y'all, Calhoun, I didn't forget about you. Randall Avenue, I didn't forget about y'all either. For me personally, I'd never been anywhere in the world. When I was a young kid, my dad took me. My dad was in the military, and the first movie he took me to was the second one. Right?
Episode 5?
Episode 5, Empire Strikes Back, which, because of that, is my favorite movie ever.
Mm-hmm.
A small portion of it, I take that back. I'd say maybe 40%. The other 60% is really grounded in the movie, the story, the characters.
But it was your introduction.
The greatest introduction in history for me to sci-fi on the screen. I only read books at that point that were sci-fi. And I immediately fell in love, not just with one character, but with everything. I mean, the ice planet, then moving forward and just deep space, which granted, I learned a little bit later on in life, you can't hear pew 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 in space, and I get that. I get it. Space is silent.
That Star would not have made
the vacuum of no oxygen, no actual oxygen leaves you to have no noise. That being said, though, for me, it was life changing because I went out and I searched for the stuff. Like I went out with I made it a point to guide my mother to take me to stores that were selling that action figures. I found the comic books, the early comic books that were based on the movie. I still owe the 1 through 4 of Return of the Jedi, first print. I went out and searched for those items, and I had to play. Mom, I love you, but you threw out my Star Wars trading cards from Topps. I had the whole 4, 5, and 6, and you threw them out, and I love you to death, but that it hurt my feelings when I came out from Ari. Yeah, but for me, I searched out those items and I searched out the lore. It was one of the first things in life. I had read The Hobbit already, but this was the first thing in life that made me say, I want more. That's what it was for me. Like I need more Star Wars in my life.
Okay, so there's an age difference here, obviously. So I didn't experience it when it came out. I wanted to ask you just for your own personal thing, because something I thought about. Right. Was there any because the Force, I always felt was it was magic.
Right, of course.
And I know you played D&D. So was there any part of that where it kind of it was an expansion on the magical?
I think it tied in. I think I actually got into D&D a little bit after I saw that movie because if I'm not mistaken, Empire Strikes Back was 84, I want to say, because I think Star Wars was 79, and that was back in the day when you didn't get a movie every year, like the same Fast and the Furious times. But I remember specifically that after I saw Star Wars, it was after that I got into the magic lore. I got into that.
Okay. So it influenced you in that way.
Right, it influenced me. I took a look at D&D and said, oh, I started putting the characters from D&D. I could be an elf. Well, an elf is like this character on Star Wars. You know, I kind of like started correlating it together with other things, but it also drove me into the magic and comics.
Okay.
Which is why I became a fan of Doc Strange, of Magic's, of all the different comic books, and really mostly Marvel. I wasn't really too much into the DC side of Magic representation, but it kind of opened up that door for me to say, this is just like, everything became, this is just like Star Wars. Mm-hmm. That's what became to me.
Okay.
This is just like Star Wars.
My experience was a lot different because, like, even though my dad bootlegged copies on the VHS when I was a kid, that was never one of them I pulled out because there was no interest in it, right? Wow. But I remember when they re-released the original trilogy and they remastered it, whatever, right? Yes. It was a gift that my grandmother bought me. Wow. It was nothing that I was like, okay, like, all right, whatever this. I don't know who the hell this guy is, but I'll watch it. And I feel like it changed my life. It was an experience, something I never seen before or thought of in a movie, and it made me want more. And it was obviously it correlated with now that was when they released the prequel trilogy was coming up.
Right, when 1, 2, and 3 was coming up.
That was the whole marketing campaign for the prequel trilogy.
Right, get you to learn it so that way you can go ahead and get a more interest in going to those movies and buying the merch.
It was great because it got me into Star Wars. The prequel trilogy got me out of Star Wars.
Isn't that something?
It was, it was terrible. But it was a complete different experience. But my whole life, up until recently, I felt like Star Wars was my dad's thing. And it was like, I was looking back on it. Even as they released the prequels, I was like, they're finishing the story they started when he saw it.
Right.
You know, and I never really felt like it was mine as much as I loved it. And that's why, like, these newer movies that are coming out and like all these
Episode 8 and Rogue One,
and all that, it's like they're finishing the story. Like, I feel like this is mine. And like the thing that, and this is where the whole thing I'm getting to, and I think I alluded to before with like Star Wars Land, is that this is gonna be everyone's. Like, this is something I'm gonna be able to share with my kids, and it's gonna be just as relevant.
Right.
And they won't look at me like, what the hell were you watching? What were you like? What is so cool about? Like, it's going to carry forward for like hopefully the rest of my life, where it's going to be something I can share with my kids and their kids, and it's just like an introduction into a world that is screwed up, and it's a lot similar to our world in that sense, but it's magical, and there's something harmony about that.
Let me ask you this question though, and this is something that you asked me a question, I asked you a question. Will you be doing the tradition, and I don't know if you've seen the videos online. Mm-hmm. There's always videos online people post on YouTube, on Vimeo, where you sit down with your children when they're old enough, 7, 8, 9, and you watch and you hope. Like, you just sit there and you say, you're going to watch this movie with me, and I'm going to answer your questions if you have it.
So there was someone I met at work, and I don't know how it happened, how you can reach your 20s and never have seen Star Wars, but he had
I've met people, trust me.
He had not seen Star Wars, so he asked me, he's like, it was actually somebody came in to purchase it. He's buying all of them, and he's like, listen, I never got into it, I want to get my kids into it. How should I watch it? And I told him, like, I was vehement about it. I'm like, listen, George Lucas made it this way. I understand, like, I kind of wish I could have watched it 1 through 6 because it's a different experience. But it was meant to be watched 4 through 6, 1 through 3. And it's because that story tells the first trilogy tells the rise and redemption of Luke to a Jedi and redemption of his father. And 1 through 3 shows the fall.
Why it happened. Yeah, why Darth Vader happened.
Look, it's so much. I feel like that's so much more human.
I think you got to watch it the way it's being done now. Like, you literally have to watch 4, 5, 6, then 1, 2, 3, then 8, then Rogue
7.
7. I'm sorry, 7. Then Rogue One, then 8, and then whatever gets released next. Like, there's Han Solo.
I disagree.
No, I think you need to. I think you need to. I don't think you can put. I don't feel like you could put 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, and then throw Rogue One in there. I don't think you can do that. I don't want you to do that.
I guess
because I feel like the way they're doing it now, for me, is the correct way to watch it. Like, I'm literally writing these numbers down mentally and on paper, so that way when my youngest gets old enough, this is how we have to watch this. You have to watch it this way. If you don't watch it with me, this is the next episode you watch. Like, you can't. Don't skip. Because if you do, I'm gonna know because I'm gonna quiz you after every movie.
And I will disown you. But I can't imagine what I'll do if my child doesn't like Star Wars.
Oh yeah, it's gonna
be such a letdown.
It's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard. I've known people who have watched Star Wars with their parents that I grew up with themselves, and never watched it or watched it later on and said, I could do without it. And I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, what happened? Who didn't hug you in your childhood enough? So, yeah.
Oh, man. Listen, it's been fun. Thank you.
We could talk forever about this topic. Trust me. We could have talked about every movie individually. And maybe one day, who knows, when we get a studio and sponsors, I'm looking at you. Maybe we will. But yeah, that was it's Star Wars, and just keep on keeping on, Disney. Give me all the movies you want to give me.
All right, guys. Thank you for joining us for episode 2 of Nerd Hype. It's been our pleasure.
I'm Will.
I'm Joe.
Live the nerd life
and get nerd hype. Thank you.